Okay, so let's go over these mug shots and, the gold mine of inconsistencies and such that are within them. So I will quickly dismantle this whole BS arrest record narrative by pointing out the fakery and a clean, logical breakdown. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. Um, yeah, anyways, the mug shots, they look completely manufactured. Every single image you will find of Donovan on these third-party BS sites that are fake. It's has the exact same booking wall, the same ruler lines, the same numbers, the same spacing, the same lighting setup. Real uh, booking photos vary by year, arrest location, and facility. And these obviously look templated as everything is the same pretty much. So yeah. Anyways, I've mentioned this before, but obviously there's no booking ID, agency or county watermark, timestamp, charge code. Legit mugshots always include these. They always include agency or county watermark, booking ID, timestamp, and charge code. So legit mugshots will have those, and his do not, right? So no intake, branding, or charge info on these photos. So yeah, none of these have any identifying data, just a generic height wall like a prop. So the third-party paywall sites, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, equals zero credibility. He's only arrested, on BS sites like mugshots.com and Rain Street. But these sites, they scrape the internet or let people upload fake entries if it's not coming from, a reliable source such as the sheriff's inmate database, a state DOC site, county booking logs. It's not real. And, different arrests, different years, but same hair and clothing. If these were real, taken on different dates and such, there would be some variation, obviously, hair length, clothing, color, lighting, head angle, yet in every photo, yep, everything looks like variations from the same single photo session. So start thinking about, actors. Okay, so the next one, no matching case numbers anywhere. Homicide charge, jail record, court docket, probation files. There would always be a paper trail. He can't produce one because these images were dumped to third-party archives with no case attached. But, this is how much of a fraud Donovan is. And next, the awkward, overly posed angles. Real mug shots are standardized, one front, one side, and that's pretty much it. Nobody takes 8 glamour style, moody head angles at intake. This is overkill to sell the persona, so to speak. Yeah, so every mugshot he posts comes from third-party pay-per-view websites that accept user-submitted images, no case numbers, no sheriff databases, no DOC record. Same user-submitted images, no case number, no sheriff database. Same height wall, same lighting, same templated setup. If it was for real, if he was really booked multiple times, where's the paperwork, the agency watermark, or a single verifiable court case? But also, when you're looking at his photos, the hair inconsistency, aging in reverse. In one set, his hair is dark with no grain. In the older mugshots, he suddenly has large gray streaks, but still looks the exact same age facially. Real aging is gradual. It doesn't show up only in streaks or in one arrest series, while being totally absent in others. Suspicious pattern, you might ask? Yeah, I mean, the grain looks artificially added or only present in specific stage photos. And also another inconsistency that gives away these photos as fake BS is the lighting and background problems. Some photos are well lit and evenly colored. Others are dark, noisy, grainy, and low quality, almost like filters or overlays were used. Wall color shifts across the sets, white versus beige versus gray, even though allegedly from the same state and time frame. If they're from the same facility or jurisdiction, setup should be consistent. And the height chart alignment issues. Yeah, the height chart alignment issues. His head, it hits different height marks, even though his height wouldn't change. Some show him around 5'10", others closer to 6'3" or more, without footwear change or posture explanation. The measurement chart spacing is very inconsistent, possibly pasted in behind him. Real mugshot backdrops don't arbitrarily resize or shift between angles. And the watermarks reversal sourcing, like almost all the photos have third-party site watermarks, such as mugshots.com. These websites scrape, edit, and sometimes even fabricate records for clicks, SEO, or takedown fees. If the arrest was real and high profile, there would be, official county jail records, not only aggregator images. And there would also be a lot of news reports as well. And that's pretty much the dead giveaway with Donovan, is his lack of news. Like, where, for such a high profile type of crime, you would just think he'd be all over the news reports from that early era, 2001, 2002. I mean, it's a pretty big crime. And it certainly wouldn't just erase itself from the internet magically like that. But yeah, also something that exposes the mugshots as bullshit is the facial expressions and posing. In one shot, he's literally smirking, smiling. That is extremely rare in legit intake photos. Standard mugshots are neutral expression, controlled shoulder alignment, minimal variance. His posture shifts a lot between images. Pretty much like a photo shoot. Instead of standardized intake, people, also, take note, like, people don't smile during booking on felony charges, especially homicide. Well, let's just say, yeah, people don't smile during booking on pretty big charges. Let's just say like that, very serious ones, including a homeless man losing his life. So, camera and resolution changes. Some images, are extremely dark and low res, and others sharp and well lit. The, contrast filter quality appears edited, not from a jail intake camera. Even the text on his place card is oddly handwritten and blurry, inconsistent with typical booking protocols. Handwritten boards stopped being used widely years ago, especially post 2005, for instance. And the timeline just doesn't add up. I mean, he's allegedly murdered a homeless man, had multiple arrests around the 2000s to 2010s, yet there are almost no mainstream or local news reports, no archived coverage, no mentions outside these third-party databases. And violent offenses like homicides always appear in newspapers, police bio, or police blotters, or court logs, even 20 plus years ago. So, summary, you can, for the summary, yeah. So, yeah. So to summarize this, if these mugshots were real, they'd be consistent in lighting, background, height, alignment, and facial presentation, but they change like staged photo shoots. Hair suddenly gray, arbitrary smiling, shifting height markers, different lighting setups, and no official source except aggregator websites that are BS. You don't murder someone and leave no paper trail, no court records, and only recycled third-party mugshots, and you definitely don't lack news coverage of. None of it adds up.